A little while ago, we did a video where I made a K-pop song in the style of some of the music from K-pop Demon Hunters, the actual movie. And when I made that, it went over really well. A lot of you loved it, but some people wanted to see me make something similar to the song Free from the movie. It's basically this really nice ballad that kind of has some dark pop, hip hop elements, and it sounds like something that I would have produced a couple years ago. So I actually thought that it could be fun to dive in and show you how to produce a dark pop ballad. We haven't done it in quite a while on this channel, so that's going to be one of the main references. We're also going to have like Blackbear, Tate McRae, and Chase Atlantic as references. We're going to go for something kind of stripped back. We're probably going to have some piano, but then lots of big ambient production, lots of hard-hitting drums. So we're going to dive in and check all of that out in 1 second. But before we do, my name is Austin. You're watching Make Pop Music. If you like this video, please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe because we have videos like this every single Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So make sure that you don't miss one. Also, we just released our brand new Serum 2 preset pack called Poptopia 2 on our website last week. You can check that out. It's at makepopmusic.com. It's 300 brand new Serum 2 presets. We have custom noises and wavetables for tons of them. Every single preset has 8 macros. It works for literally every genre under the sun. There's tons of product examples. There's a ton of information. There's a full walkthrough. You can check it out at makepopmusic.com. There is a link in the description. Also, it's still on sale for its intro price of $50. You have until the end of next Friday, September 26th. After then, it's going to go up to its main price of $70. So make sure that you go check that out because you only have about a week left to get that intro sale. Let's dive in so we can check out this ballad. I'm starting at a tempo of 140. I want this to kind of have that trappy alternative R&B vibe, especially when drums come in. But to start, I want to start with a piano. Here's the piano that we're starting with. It's out of Keyscape. It's just the C7 Softest. It's essentially just a really nice soft C7. I'm making it even a little bit softer because I went ahead and EQ'd out some of this top end. If I have that off, it's a little bit bright for me. I don't need that for this. I want it a little bit vibier. So I'm going to take that out. And for right now, for the chord progression, we'll probably, let's just do B major because that's what I'm already playing. So here's what we came up with. We're in B major. As you can see, for the first half, I'm actually playing these like pretty minimal triads that are just inverted. And then I am pulling in some chords that we're actually kind of now pedaling on this extra note right here. We're going to be pedaling on that F sharp for the second half just to kind of add a little bit of extra tension. I think that it kind of thickens up the notes. So let me play the final chord progression that we're going to be working with today. It's not quantized either. When you have a simple progression, it can be nice to throw in some of these more dense chords, adding things like sevenths and ninths and pedal notes, and it can be really interesting to just invert chords. So instead of playing a B major like this, we're just going to move something like that A sharp down here. Just to give us an inversion, just so we can kind of scale down. So this is actually an ascending chord progression, but with us doing the inversions, we're actually kind of walking it down, which I like better for this vibe. So that's feeling good for now. What I want to do is duplicate this, and I'm going to add kind of a version of this piano that's just all reverb. So I'm using this to add quite a bit of extra depth. So what we're doing here is I have just a huge Verb suite at 100% wet, and I'm filtering out so much of it. If you want to copy the settings, you can. But then other than that, we're doing some more bandpass filtering right here with Pro Q, and then I'm just making it super wide with S1. So in solo, it's basically turning it into a pad. So now that we have that, I actually do want to go ahead and add in some pad stuff because I like these chords, I like this piano, but I want to have some kind of vibey pad. So that's where we're going to go ahead and add Serum 2, start flipping through some presets. And then in here, I'm just going to look for pads. So I'll go to here, try like Afterlife. Not quite what I need at the moment. That one's kind of nice. All right, I'm going to start with Eternal Drift, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to automate the volume up and automate some of these parameters up and kind of show you what I get. So here it is with the volume being automated up. I'm I'm gonna add one more little pad that's kind of doing the chords underneath it just to thicken those a little bit. So here's what we're gonna add. We're gonna add this key. It's called Do You Really Know Me? It's kind of like this filtered E key, and we'll automate the cutoff and stuff as this kind of ramps up. But for now, I want it filtered. All right, that feels pretty good. Let's hear it all together. Sweet. We'll keep kind of layering the sonic soundscape just so it can get really big and encompassing. I'll probably do like one more pad, and then I want something that has a little bit of movement. Here are the other elements that I decided to add. It's this pad called Gates of Heaven, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna pedal on one single note. We're gonna pedal on the one, which is B. And I'm just gonna leave that going the entire time. Then we have the secondary pad. Since we're kind of playing a melody on that eternal drift, I wanted to play a melody that can kind of just counter that. So we're using this Atmos Serenity kind of sound right here. And for the chords, we're actually doing... And let's hear how that sounds. So if we play it all together now. And then the last little layer, this is actually just something that we made for a free little pack that we gave away over Christmas called Happy Accidents. It doesn't exist anywhere in the world anymore. This is something that we did as just like a free little bonus. But I had this really cool kind of like plucky ARP that I ran through a billion different guitar pedals. And I just took it and pitched it down one semitone to match the key of the song. Super granular, super fun. And the way that that was made was essentially just like playing a pedaling note on a key. And then I sent it through like a Chase Bliss mood. I think I sent it through the hologram microcosm and then the hologram chroma console. And it just gave me this cool like warbly texture. And now when we play it all together, this is pretty much it for me. What we'll do is for the second half, I can like pull in a little brass just to give us some low end. I don't want to pull in a bass quite yet, but if I pull in something like this little brass down here, where are we at? There's one that's really nice and soft. I Loathe You. There we go. That should work. Cool. Let's go ahead and start building out some drums. I feel like this is going to be plenty for the verse, but I want to go ahead and get something kind of working for what could be a chorus. Here's what I came up with for the drums. They're just samples that I took out of our pack, The Works. I just took them out of the hip hop section. It's the kick that's called Chase. And then it's just one of the rim shots. Super simple when we layer them over everything. Let me pop it on time. I think I'm going to take out the piano too. I don't think that we're going to need all of that for the chorus, especially as we add a bass. But let's add a hi-hat. I'm going to add a sampler element right here, and then I'll just drag a hi-hat on. All right, here is our sampler. It is just a little hi-hat that we got out of The Works. And now I can play a little pattern. I'll probably play something a little bit more glitchy because if I want to add a steady hat in later, I can just add that with a little loop. Here is our hi-hat pattern. Let's go ahead and give it a listen. Cool. That feels good to me. Let's add in, maybe I will add in like a little steady hat underneath, and then I want to add this cool little like percussion loop. I'm going to do that with Serum 2. There's a little tom in here that we have that I think works really, really well. It's called, I think it's called Perky Tom. Boom. Yeah. All right, let's turn that way down. Cool, we'll do something like that on it. All right, here's our final drum arrangement. Let's add in our bass. I think we just need some kind of big, like, Reese bass. That should be simple enough. Turn the volume down a little bit, pop it into here. I'll just go with the first one that I see. We'll go to a Reese of my heart. That should work. All right, let's try that. What I'll also do is I'm going to turn this to mono, I'm going to turn this to legato, and we're going to give it some portamento so we can do the slides. Cool, that'll work. I'll just lay something in real quick. Now, the next thing that I want to do is layer up some of these keys. Since I took the piano out, I just want some keys that I think can add a little bit of texture. So I'm probably going to add something that has like a little bit of extra pluck, and then I'll add some like strings and pads just to fill out the top end more, because everything is pretty low in key right now. So I'll probably add something in a couple octaves higher, just so we can kind of fill out the entire kind of sonic spectrum of it. So the first little layer that I wanted to add is this little key called Kitchen. Kind of giving us that DX7 E key, just to add a little bit of transient to everything. Then we're adding this little string right here called the dramatique string. And that's just adding a little bit of kind of like top, high, mid. Then we're adding this Gates of Heaven, and I have Kickstart on it just to give it some swell and some EQ just to really tame it. But here's what it sounds like. And then I needed a little bit more top end, so I'm adding this little preset. It's one of my favorite presets in the new pack. It's called Preset for You. It's basically the Party for You little bell. And I have the bell macro pretty high up, just to give us some sheen. And for the piano, what I decided to do was I decided to just do bass notes that followed that little Reese that we added. I took out the big thick chords because it was getting kind of muddy. So the piano is just doing single notes. The next thing that we have are these two pads right here that are kind of doing this counter melody. It's like this little artificial choir that I made. And then the dramatique low. This is just the same preset as earlier, but I'm just automating things up just to add a little bit of texture. The last little thing is I wanted to add some kind of lead element, so we have this thing called the palanca. And then I have this granular loop out of Sweet Tooth that I just brought down to the key, or I just transposed it up 10 semitones. And we're painting one to the left and one to the right, just so we can have some high-end kind of melody happening that's not in the center of the stereo spectrum. Now, when we hear it with everything, let's add some rises and crashes and hits, and then I'll pop in a vocal. So here we go. I have this little reverse like pluck element that I've just pitched to the different keys. So -2 semitones, 0, 2, 2, and that should be -3. And I've just added some swells and hits. And all of that is just layered under the instrumental that we already have. So I feel like that for an instrumental, we have enough going on. There's plenty of room and texture. Let's go ahead and throw a vocal on this so I can show you what I would do with that. First, I actually just wanted to give us a little intro, so I literally just took the first 4 chords just to give us some kind of run-in before we have a vocal. Just so you're not confused as to what we've added. But let's dive into the vocal right here. So we have our verse. This is what my raw vocal sounded like. It is Sony C800G into a Rupert Neve Newton channel strip with the EQ engaged doing like a 1 to 2 dB cut at around 3.5K, and then it's doing like a 1 dB boost at 16K. And then I have an 1176 Rev D, and I have an Opto compressor from AudioScape, both doing like 3 to 5 dB of gain reduction. This is what the raw vocal sounded like. If only we could tear down all the walls and get through all the panic of a loss. I know that we could always do a little bit of mixing to it. There's not as much as it looks like happening. There's just some auto tune. For this style, I'm actually tuning pretty hard. My retune speed's at like 14, which is really fast for me. But other than that, I'm just taming like some of this like 8K spittiness. If only we could tear down all the walls and get through all the panic of a loss. Then just doing a little bit more compression. So I have the Blue Stripe 1176. If only we could tear down all the walls and get through all the panic of a loss. And I'm just using that for some gain to bring it up to the right level. Then after that, we just have a de-esser, just taking away some of those S's. For me, I find that if I de-ess around like 4,000 to 4,400, depending on the song, it takes away quite a bit of that like harshness. If only we could tear down all the walls and get through all the panic of a loss. And then we have one more EQ that's literally just like taking away a little bit of 200 hertz, and then a de-esser. And here's what it sounds like in the mix with none of our wet effects. If only we could tear down all the walls and get through all the panic of a loss. I know. For the wet effects, we have our parallel widening down here. We use it all the time on this channel. I'm sure you've seen it a billion times. It is the Roland Dimension D, and it's on setting 3, and it's at 100% wet, obviously because it's on Ascend. Other than that, for this one, we have a plate reverb. So we're using the 7th Heaven Professional. We're at a 1.2 8 decay. We have a little bit of pre-delay just so it doesn't get super muddy. And then for the master EQ, we're just taming some of the highs and the mids and the lows. And that's pretty much it. They're the settings if you want to copy it. And then other than that, I think we have an 1/8 note delay. So at 140, it's actually almost acting as like a mini slapback. So it's an 1/8 note ping pong back and forth just to add a little bit of stereo width. And we have it on the space echo setting. If you add in that plate reverb, the width, and then a quarter note right here, which is also Echo Boy. And so when you blend all of those into taste, I wanted something that wasn't super overly wet for this verse. If only we could tear down all the walls and get through all the panic of a loss. I know that we could always have it all, but I think we're getting dizzy and adore that we revolve. I'm petrified. So a big reason that I wanted to go drier is because I've been doing this a ton lately where I essentially just print the entire lead vocal with all of its effects and everything. And then what I do is I just throw on a giant reverb and delay. So I have an 1/8 note delay here at like 30 to 40% wet. But the real big thing here is a 7-second vintage verb. And the reason that I can get away with it being so long is because I'm just using it to splash certain words. We have another Echo Boy right here doing a quarter note just to kind of like make everything super washy. And then one last reverb to tuck everything in. And with it being a printed vocal, I have all of my compression and everything on the vocal already. So now I can really just automate the level into that reverb and delay to really control what words I want and how intense I want it. So So I just use that to kind of add my little splashes on accent words.
I know that we could always have it all, but I think we're getting dizzy and adore that we revolve.
And then I do something similar where instead of being mainly reverb, it's mainly delay. So I have this big quarter note throw right here. It's that lead vocal once again printed with all of its effects on it. And then I'm just unmuting the word that I want to be a delay. It's at 100% wet. And then I have a reverb just to kind of make it not super dry and awkward. And it's just giving us those big throws. And that's pretty much it for the verse vocal production. So we have lead vocal with these splashes, and then going into this pre-chorus, we're kind of automating those big quarter note delay throws a little bit more often.
I've got too much pride to push aside, seeing tunnel vision in my eyes. I'm a moth to a flame and you're the light, but I'm scared of going blind.
And that's really it for the verses. Let's get into the chorus vocal production because there is a bit to break down here. We have our lead vocal, same exact processing chain as the verse vocal.
I don't want to hesitate, I don't want to waste your time, I don't want to give you space, I just want peace of mind.
We're going a little bit heavier with the delays and the reverbs. That's fine, the chorus is way thicker, so we can kind of get away with that. Here's what it sounds like.
I don't want to hesitate, I don't want to waste your time, I don't want to give you space, I just want peace of mind. Give me an ounce of grace, maybe just cut the line.
So to layer that up, to make it a little bit thicker and a little bit wider, we have dubs on the left and right. I sang it 2 more times, once for the left, once for the right. They're vocal line together.
I don't want to waste your time, I don't want to give you space.
And I've taken off that parallel widening because I don't need these to be extra modulated or extra wide. They're getting panned out anyway.
I don't want to hesitate, I don't want to waste your time, I don't want to give you space.
So we just have that literally on the lead.
I don't want to hesitate, I don't want to waste your time, I don't want to give you space.
And they're about 9 dB lower. So sometimes I'll go really loud with these. If you want like a really wide, really poppy vocal, you could have them be 3 dB less.
I don't want to hesitate, I don't want to waste your time, I don't want to give you space, I just want peace of mind. Give me an ounce of grace.
But I wanted this vocal a little bit more focused, and I still wanted the texture from those, so they're down pretty quiet. The next thing that we're doing is these kind of harmony punches. So these are really fun and exciting. It's the same exact chain, but on these, I added the Eventide H3000, absolutely goated like reverb, delay, and modulation unit. And I have it on this analog delays preset, and I've just got the mix at like 33%. And I'm literally only punching in words and phrases at the end. So
hesitate, waste your time, I wanna give you space, peace of mind, ounce of grace, cut the line, purgatory waiting for another sign.
And they're just pedaling on a note, which is really fun to me. Then we're layering that with literally doing the same thing, pedaling on a different note. I don't believe this layer has the H3000. No, I didn't copy that over to here. So this is just the lead vocal. These are panned 90%. The ones that I just showed you were panned 80. Let's go to this one.
Hesitate, waste your time, give you space, peace of mind, ounce of grace, baby just cut the line. I'm stuck in purgatory waiting for another sign. Say it to me face to face, cause you got me on the hook. Are you on a different page?
It's really fun. It makes those words and phrases really stick out. So I didn't go crazy with layering in terms of like full harmonies. I just wanted those punch-ins. And then the only part where I really do this like kind of harmony ad-lib, this is double tracked over here, and it's panned 80% left and right.
I'm stuck in purgatory waiting for another sign.
And for these, it's the exact same, but I have the H3000 again, and this one is the Moon Turn Tides at 30% wet. And then I have an extra reverb on these at 2.5 seconds of a hall, just to make them kind of wet, tuck them into the background, especially because they'll have a counter melody over here that you'll hear in a second. But you get these really fat vocal stacks.
Of grace, baby just cut the line. I'm stuck in purgatory waiting for another sign. Say it to me face to face, cause you got me on the hook. Are you on a different page?
And then we're doing the same thing that we did in the verse with those big quarter note delay throws. It's literally just copied and pasted, and it's just happening on those little blank spaces.
I don't wanna hesitate, I don't wanna waste your time, I I don't wanna give you space, I just want peace of mind. Give me an ounce of grace, baby, just.
Then we just go into a post-chorus right here. I just copied and pasted the instrumental over.
I don't wanna take it slow, baby, I just wanna dive right in. Do you? Oh, baby.
That's where I'm talking about. I have that extra little melody.
Baby, I just wanna dive right in.
And that's really all of the elements that I would put. You could do a verse 2. I kind of already fleshed an idea out here. I would probably add in the drums for verse 2, take the bass out so it doesn't feel too huge, go back to piano, remove some of the pads. You can kind of pick and choose elements that you want to be at certain areas of the song, but that's really all I would do. If you want, we can go ahead and take a quick listen. This is everything that I would do for a dark pop ballad, similar to Free out of K-Pop Demon Hunters, or something that you would hear from Tate McRae, Blackbear, Chase Atlantic. Let's check it out.
If only we could tear down all the walls and get through all the panic of the loss. I know that we could always have it all, but I think we're getting dizzy and adore that we revolve. I'm petrified of breaking from the fall, so I push you away, it's all my fault. I send mixed messages to throw us off, make a million problems just so we have something else to solve. I've got too much pride to push aside, seeing tunnel vision in my eyes. I'm a moth to a flame and you're the light, but I'm scared of going blind. I lie wide awake every night, trying to get the words to come out right. When you ask what I want and my tongue is tied, but it's time to draw some lines. I don't wanna hesitate, I don't wanna waste your time, I don't wanna give you space, I just want peace of mind. Give me an ounce of grace, baby, just cut the line. I'm stuck in purgatory, waiting for another sign. Say it to me face to face, cause you got me on the hook. Are you on a different page, or am I in a different book? I don't wanna let you go, but I don't wanna box you in. I don't wanna take it slow, baby, I just wanna dive right in. Do you? Oh, baby, do you? Oh, baby, do you? If nothing, baby, do you? If nothing, baby, do you?
And there you have it. I hope that you liked this video. Again, if you want to check out all of the sounds that you heard, so many of them were from our new pack, Poptopia 2. Again, it is at an intro price until the end of next week, September 26th. All of the drum sounds were from our pack, The Works, if you want to check that one out as well. But other than that, I hope you liked this video. Make sure that you subscribe so you catch these every single Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. But that's going to do it for this week. I'll see you guys soon. Much love. Peace.